Welcome to the MamasteFit YouTube channel. In this workout video, we're going to do a 12-minute pelvic opening workout to open the top part of the pelvis, which is going to create more space to help your baby enter into the pelvis either during pregnancy or during your labor. So before we get into the workout, let's talk about how we open the top part of the pelvis. The top part of the pelvis right here is the pelvic inlet. This is going to open more with external rotation of the femurs. So knees coming out as the ankles come in is going to create more space side to side. So the first thing that we want to do with our prenatal workouts and that we're going to do in this workout is to ensure that we have the capability to create more space side to side in the top of the pelvis by finding that external rotation. So we're going to start with a movement that's the supported squat. And at the bottom, we're going to spend a little bit of time there to really work on this hip mobility. The next thing that's really important to open the top part of the pelvis is being able to find a posterior pelvic tilt. This means tucking the butt underneath, which is going to move the sacral promontory backwards to create more space front to back. And so essentially we want to be able to tuck our butt underneath to create more space front to back in the top part of the pelvis. However, during pregnancy, this posterior pelvic tilt can sometimes be a little bit harder to find. And so it can be important while we're doing our prenatal workouts to really emphasize finding that posterior pelvic tilt. The reason being is during pregnancy, we tend to favor this extended spine position, which can make it just a little bit harder to find the opposite. And so in this workout, we're also going to incorporate a 90-90 Camel, which is going to emphasize releasing tension in the hip flexors, helping with pelvic position, so that you can find that more tucked position to create all of that space in the top of the pelvis. The last movement that we're going to do is going to be pelvic tilt sitting on the ball. So I really like to do upright positions, especially if you're having like nausea or heartburn during pregnancy. Being in more upright positions may be more comfortable for you. And so we're going to sit on the ball and work on just some pelvic mobility, moving the pelvis front to back. If you want to add more side to side, you can. But specific to opening the top part of the pelvis, we're going to focus on the front to back movement. So let's go ahead and get started. For the first movement, we're going to do a supported squat. So you're going to drop down to the bottom of the squat. At the bottom, we're going to release tension here to find a little bit more rounding in the back. Take a full round of breath. So I'm going to inhale to breathe deeper into my back. And then exhale, try to move a little bit deeper. Inhale, and then exhale to stand up. So I'm going to inhale to lower, release tension here. Exhale to find a little bit deeper. Big inhale. And then exhale to stand up. And so we're just going to repeat this for about 1 minute. So hopefully you get about like 10 to 15 in. So big inhale here. Exhale, come up. And what's nice about holding on to something, you can take out that ankle mobility issue that some of us may have with the squat. So you may find that you're pretty limited because of your ankle mobility. But because we're hanging on to something, you can just lean back into it. And it helps to decrease the angle that your ankle has to bend. So drop down, find a rounded position, take a full round of breath here. Exhale, come up. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, come up. And just taking your time, sit at the bottom for a little bit. If you feel like you need to sit a little bit more, you can kind of sway side to side. Maybe spread the feet out a little bit more if belly's really in the way or having a hard time finding this deep position. Come on up, and then one more, lower down, and then come up. The next thing that we're going to do is going to be pelvic tilt with our birth ball. So birth ball is a really great thing to use during your pregnancy. You can also use it during your labor. It's something that I would recommend like investing in having one in at home, just because there's so many uses for it. Now, a peanut ball, I would say you don't need to get. And so we're just focusing on bringing the hips forward, trying to tuck that butt underneath, and then exhale to push the hips back. So coming forward, rounding in the back, and then arching in the back. And so we're just moving the hips front to back, paying attention if there's a point that feels a little bit more restricted for you. Maybe the rounding and coming forward feels a little bit harder to achieve. It could also just be harder because belly is there. And then arch in the back. So you might feel a little bit of stretching in the back side, a little bit of stretching in the front side. And we're just kind of moving back and forth between the two. And now this is something that you can just do on your own as well. We'll do about 3 more here. So arch in the back and round. And then the ball is going to help you find these positions a little bit more easily. The final movement of this circuit is going to be the 90-90 camel. So I'm going to be in a 90-90 position. One leg is in front, the other leg is behind. I'm first going to find a side body opener. This is going to help to stretch in like the lat area and the side body. And then I'm going to reach behind with that hand, plant it, and then extend the hips forward to feel more of a stretch here in this hip flexor. Sit back down, come to stretch where that side body lat area. If you kind of roll forward, you'll feel it more in the back side. And then come back and extend in that hip. So we'll do this side for about a minute, and then we'll switch to do the other side. So muscles that really influence whether or not we can find that posterior pelvic tilt or tucking the butt underneath are going to be those hip flexors. So the muscles that we're stretching when we come here, and the lats. So the muscle that we're stretching when we're here. And so when we release tension in those two, it can be easier to find a posterior pelvic tilt. And so this movement really helps to release that tension, and it can make it a lot easier to find that tucked position that's really important to open the top part of the pelvis. So all of our prenatal workouts are going to be really focused on ensuring that we have the movement capability to open each pelvic level. We want that movement to be accessible to us during labor. And let's switch sides. So bring the other leg in front, opposite leg back. We're finding that side body opener. If you want a little more lats, roll the belly towards the floor, reach behind, extend in the hip, feel more of that hip flexor stretch, and then sit back. One side may feel a little bit tighter for you than the other. For me, my left leg behind, an internal rotation tends to be a little bit tighter. It's probably similar for you. So you may find that when you reach towards or away from the right side, you feel a lot more of a stretch here. And when you extend the hip, you feel like it's a lot more stretch in that hip flexor. And you may also find that sitting in this bottom position is a little bit more uncomfortable or less natural compared to the other side. So we'll reach, extend in that hip, or reach, extend in that hip. Do about 2 more, and then we'll start the circuit all over again. And we'll do about 3 rounds to help open the top part of the pelvis, which again, is really important to help our baby enter or engage into the pelvis. So let's go back to exercise number 1 and repeat this all 2 more times. So grab onto your sturdy structure. We're gonna go ahead and come back to those squats. So I'm inhale to lower down, find my rounded position. Exhale, come on up. Inhale to lower. Take a full cycle of breath here. Get comfortable in this position. Again, it's that external rotation that's opening the top of the pelvis from side to side. And external rotation is going to be knees are wider than the ankles. They're moving outwards with that abduction. So leg moving away from midline. So get comfortable in this position. Even reaching up like this can help to stretch the lats, which again is going to help you find more that rounded position, which is what we're wanting. Now, external rotation is a little bit easier to find during pregnancy. So you may find that you don't have to do like a hyper focus on the external rotation aspects because we're already there during pregnancy. It's already typically very accessible to us, but that posterior pelvic tilt is a little bit less accessible. And so it may be worth spending a little bit more time on the rounded position. So sitting here at the bottom to stretch the lats to find that rounded position, and then coming up, lower down, spending extra time here at the bottom. Coming up, we'll do about 2 more, and then we'll move on to our pelvic tilts. Coming back up, lower down, and come back up. So let's move on to the pelvic tilt. So grabbing onto your birth ball. And again, we're going to arch in the back and then tuck the butt underneath. So we're arching in the back, tucking the butt underneath, and just kind of moving through to feel what parts feel more sticky for you, maybe feel better for you. Maybe we pause in the rounded position because that one's a little bit harder. We breathe here, big inhale, exhale. And just kind of move through it to see, again, what feels sticky for you, what feels good for you. We're just trying to bring more movement. There's no one perfect posture. There's no one best labor position. It's all about how well you can change positions. And so if you're stuck in one position all the time, even if it's that perfect neutral spine position, you're still going to be in pain. And so it's about being able to move well, which is why we incorporate so many mobility exercises within our programming and within these workouts for you guys here on YouTube. We'll do about 3 more. And let's move on to the final movement of this round 2 of the 90-90 camel. So in the 90-90 camel position, one leg's in front, the other leg's behind. We're first going to find that side body opener, feeling the stretch in the lat, maybe rotating, you can feel it more in the back side. Reach behind, and then extend in that hip. You're just going to kind of move between the two. And similar to the pelvic tilt, if you feel a point that feels just a little bit more sticky, stay there for a little bit longer, let it stretch and release, and then switch to the other side. You don't have to move through these really fast. You can take your time with it, because again, it's all about making sure that these movements are accessible to you during your pregnancy, so they can be accessible to you during labor, so that you can create the space that you need within your pelvis, or the space that your baby needs within your pelvis. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So again, for me, this side feels a little bit tighter. It's a little bit harder to be in. So I'm probably going to spend a little bit more time in certain movements for me. So here, my right side body is a little bit more compressed. It probably is for you too. And then left hip flexor is a little bit tighter. For me, again, it probably is for you too. A lot of us have this common postural tendency where the left hip is a little bit more forward, her right hip is a little bit more back. Our rib cage tends to be a little bit more twisted in one direction, a little bit more compressed on the right side. And so when we understand that we're really asymmetrical beings, it makes it a lot easier for us to adjust our programming and our exercises to accommodate for that asymmetry. It's not like perfectly symmetrical, which is hard because we want to do everything the same on both sides. Like, it's really hard to realize, oh, my right glute's a little bit weaker. I should do more reps on that side versus the other. All right, so let's move into our final round with our squats, pelvic tilt, and then we'll finish up with that 90-90 camel to conclude our inlet opening pelvic workout. So let's get back to the squats. So grabbing onto your sturdy structure, we're going to inhale, lower down, sit here for a moment, and then we're coming up. So we're lowering down and then come up. And similar to the last round, if there's points that felt more sticky for you, just spend a little bit more time there. Lower down. So find a little bit more stretch in the back. So like really release into the arms. Find that tension. Pull yourself up. Lower down. Feel more of that stretch in the back side of the body. And then come on up. So doing squat movements is great. It helps to strengthen the lower body, and we do want strong legs to help us during labor. The longer we can maintain an upright position and move during labor, typically the faster your labor will be, because it's going to allow your baby to put more pressure against your cervix, and baby against your cervix tends to release more labor hormones, which is what we want. But in this movement, we're really just focusing on releasing in the lats and making sure that we're creating that space in the top of the pelvis. So moving on to those pelvic tilts, grabbing on to your birth ball. We're going to arch in the back, feel more of a stretch in the front side of the body, and then tuck the butt underneath, feel more of a rounding in the back, arch. And we're just kind of going back and forth between the two. If you have any points that feel a little bit more sticky, again, just spend a little bit more time in there. Maybe do just a little bit of like a rounding, where you kind of do some hip circles that are really emphasizing this more front to back type motion, and explore it. It doesn't have to be like a perfect front to back type movement. We can kind of explore it as well. About 2 more tilts. And then we'll move into the final movement, the 90-90 camel. So starting in that 90-90 position, we'll go ahead and find that side body opener. Reach behind, extending the hips for that hip flexor stretch. And then just rotating between the two, taking your time, feeling for any sticky points. Again, this movement is helping to release the lats, the side body, and then also the hip flexor, so that it can be easier for us to find that posterior pelvic tilt, which creates more of that space front to back in the top of the pelvis. And so all of these movements are helping to focus on the biomechanical patterns that are required to open the top of the pelvis. So that's what we can focus on during our prenatal workouts, is making sure that we have the movement capability to open each pelvic level to make it easier for your baby to navigate through. So we're not trying to force baby into the pelvis. We're not trying to force baby into any position. We're allowing baby to find their best position by creating more space for them. And that's going to apply during pregnancy, and it's going to really apply during birth. So go ahead and switch sides. So find that side body opener, and then extending in the hip. And if you do find that you're like me, or one side is a little bit tighter or feels more restricted than the other, feel free to spend more time there. You don't have to just do what I do in this video. You can do a little bit more on that side. So our babies are smart, and they're going to find the best position for themselves during pregnancy and during our labors. It's just up to us to make sure that we're creating all of the space for them so they can find their best position. It's not about forcing baby into anything. About 3 more here. I guess it depends on how fast you're doing it. It might only be 2. And that's it. So thanks for watching this 12-minute pelvic opening workout video. This workout was focused on opening the top part of the pelvis, which is known as the pelvic inlet. We're trying to create more space side to side with that external rotation, which is what we did the supported squats for. It was emphasizing opening the hips a little bit more in this direction. In addition, we want to be able to find a posterior pelvic tilt where we're tucking the butt underneath to create more space front to back. So that means we're tucking the butt under to find more of that space. During pregnancy, we tend to favor more of that extended spine position. So we tend to be extended and favoring this position. Because of that, it can be a lot harder to find that posterior pelvic tilt to create that space. And so during pregnancy, it can be really helpful to focus on releasing things like the hip flexors and the lats to make it easier for us to then tuck that butt underneath. And so the exercises, such as the 90-90 camel, included releasing the hip flexors and the lats to make it easier for us to find that tucked position. And then the last movement was the pelvic tilts that involved a lot of pelvic mobility because, again, there is no one best posture, there is no one best labor position, and there is no one best position for your baby. It's all about being able to change positions. And so we don't want to just be in this like static neutral position. We also don't want to be stuck in this extended position. We want to be able to move easily from front to back. And so hopefully these 3 exercises, doing those 3 rounds of 1 minute each, was helpful for you to begin to move your body in a way that is creating more space within your pelvis so that your baby can find the best position for them during your pregnancy and during your labor. If you like this workout video and you want more from us, join our online fitness programs. We offer our prenatal fitness programs in the Team Builder app, where it's a list of exercises with short demo videos. And we also offer it as on-demand videos that are full-length workout videos that you can follow along as you work it out at the same time. Our programs are going to be synced to your week of pregnancy. It starts at week 5, goes all the way to week 41. And we offer modifications throughout based on what we have found to be really helpful for our in-person training clients. Here at MamasteFit, we exclusively train in-person prenatal and postpartum fitness clients. So essentially, that's the only type of client that we're really training. So we're not just creating programs based on our own pregnancies or creating a bunch of online programs. We're creating programs based on working with people in real life. In addition to being fitness professionals in our in-person training facility here, we're also birth professionals, and so we're supporting births in person. And so we're seeing firsthand what type of movement restrictions are causing issues during labor and what type of movement capabilities are really important for labor progress. And so we're incorporating those within our prenatal fitness programs because our programs are more than just pregnancy-safe exercises. They're going to keep you strong throughout your pregnancy, keep you pain-free, and then also help you prepare for birth. You can check out all of our fitness programs online at mamastefit.com/fitness-programs and use code YouTube10 to get 10% off any of our online programs. You can also bundle our prenatal fitness programs with our childbirth education course and pelvic floor prep for birth course to save an additional 15%. So with the code YouTube10 plus the 15% off the bundles already have, you can save a total of 25% off our fitness programs, childbirth education course, and pelvic floor prep for birth course. So thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to go down and like and subscribe to our channel so you get notified whenever we release new videos. We're releasing about 2 to 3 new videos a week, educational videos, workout videos, plus podcast episodes. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.